All right, Erev Tov Rabbi Say and Chodesh Tov, Shavua Tov. One of the questions that came up on the chat, which comes up every year, and is important to talk about in terms of Hilchos Pesach and in terms of Hilchos Kashrus in general, and that is the question of pet food on Pesach. So the first thing to note is that the general rules of what is considered to be edible chametz on Pesach is more stringent than the general rules of what's considered to be food during the rest of the year. Meaning, just as a basic rubric, food that is not edible is not food. So if you have something that has gone bad, that is spoiled, that is soured, that is disgusting, that is no longer considered to be food. In theory, if a person were to eat a rancid piece of bacon, you haven't violated any issur of eating bacon. You might have violated an issur of being stupid. You might have violated an issur of bal teshakzu, of not being disgusting. But eating bacon, you have not violated. It's not food. However, when it comes to Hilchos Pesach, the rubric is stricter. In order for something to no longer be considered chametz, it has to be something that is not roi la'achilas kelev, meaning your dog wouldn't eat it. Not your dog, a dog wouldn't eat it. And I point out a dog as opposed to your dog because a story that we've told many times, that once somebody asked Rishachta told us, somebody asked Soloveitchik if he has to get rid of all of his wife's perfumes for Pesach because they have an alcohol base. It's ethanol alcohol, and it's made out of a grain, and you have to get rid of all the perfumes. I think once upon a time in Rabbi Blumenkrantz's book, they did say that. I think that they've taken that out, maybe since he was niftar, or maybe he changed his position. But nevertheless, the Rav apparently asked him, do you have a dog? He says, yes, I have a dog. He says, would your dog drink the perfume? He says, yeah, actually, my dog does drink the perfume. At which point the Rav looked at him and said, your dog is crazy. Meaning, we don't paskin based on your dog, we paskin based on normal dogs. A regular dog, regular run-of-the-mill, dog that you get from Petco doesn't drink perfume. Your highfalutin, fine schmecker dog that likes to drink perfume is not a regular dog. Meaning, regular dogs don't drink perfume. But regular dogs do eat dog food. And fish eat fish food. I've gotten that shayla a few times in the last a few years. Apparently people like fish, owning them, and feed them. And a lot of the times, that feed is chametz. Meaning, the stuff that you feed to your animals, if it's chametz, you have a problem with it. Why? What's the problem? You're not eating it. No problem. So you have a problem of owning it. Good. So I'll sell my chametz dog food to a non-Jew. Now, there's another issur of chametz, which is the issur hana. You are not allowed to benefit from chametz. Which means that if your dog is eating chametz on Pesach, then you are benefiting from that in two ways. One, in that your dog is not dead. And two, in that you have saved money on not feeding your dog kosher Pesach food, which is probably more expensive, right? But being that what it is, you have a problem. If your dog eats chametz, you have an issue. Which means that you need to first and foremost figure out, does my dog eat chametz? So chametz is something that is made of one of the 5 grains, and this is an important acronym to know. That is warbs: wheat, oats, rye, barley, and spelt. If any of that is in your dog's food, then that is a problem. But it doesn't usually say on the ingredients label wheat or oats or barley or rye or spelt. It might say that, but usually it says a few other things. For example, the Star K has a list of all the things that it might say in your dog's feed that are all probably, usually, most of the time, chametz. Those things are cracked wheat. That's a dead giveaway. Anything involving wheat flour, germ, gluten, grounds, grout, middlings, starch. You'll find all of those things in the labels. Barley, cracked barley, barley flour, oats, flour, grouts, hulled, pasta, rye, and this is the kicker, because this was the actual shayla that came up. What about brewer's dry yeast? Yes, that is chametz. Brewer's dry yeast in almost all of the dog foods is, in fact, chametz. Any time that dog or cat food says in it that it contains sauce or gravy, that is usually also chametz. Meaning they mix that with some kind of flour thing to make it thicker, and that sauce or gravy is chametz. I don't know what the bunny food situation is, right? Do bunnies eat chametz? I don't know. It's they're okay with it. Okay, good. This comes up only by Ashkenazi dogs. What about kidneys? Sometimes you have Ashkenazi dogs, right? So the halacha is that your Ashkenazi dog can be a Sephardi for Pesach. That's okay. You have to tovel the mechumas. No. Your Ashkenazi dog can eat kidneys. Why? Well, there's no problem. There's no problem of owning kidneys on Pesach. That's not a problem. And there's no problem of getting hana from kidneys on Pesach. Meaning the minhag not to eat kidneys is not to eat kidneys. We don't eat kidneys. We treat it as if it is chametz with regards to eating. But there's no issue of owning it. The Torah says that you're not allowed to own chametz, you're not allowed to own yeast. There's no problem owning the kidneys, and there's no problem in getting hana from the kidneys. So the issue is owning it, you're feeding it to your dog, no problem. Your dog is getting benefit from it, also no problem. Both of those things are entirely permissible. Things that you'll find that on the label that are normatively kidneys are beans, buckwheat, brewer's rice, corn, millet, peanuts, peas, rice, safflower, sesame, soybeans, soy flour, sunflower. We'll point out just the peanuts thing because this comes up from time to time. Somebody asked me a shaila, and this is an important shaila to note, that their doctor has said that their child is at risk for developing a peanut allergy and they should feed them bamba. This was the research that came out of Israel a number of years ago, that if your kid has like some slight peanut allergy thing, they figured out in Israel nobody has peanut allergies. And they're like, why? And it's probably because like their parents like beat it out. No, they gave them bamba from the time that they're babies, and they figured that like immunize them against because the doctor says that they should eat bamba every day. So okay, but the halacha is that for a katan that needs to eat kidneys, they can eat kidneys. And for a zaken, for an old person that needs to eat kidneys, they can eat kidneys. All of that is permissible. We should also point out that peanuts, it happens to be, I grew up in South Africa where we ate peanut butter on matzah all the time. That was normal, that was run-of-the-mill, that was regular. Rishafta told us that when did it happen that peanuts became kidneys? So this was something that in Lithuania nobody had ever heard of, that peanuts were kidneys. The first time that the Bachrim in the Mir Yeshiva heard that peanuts were kidneys, or that they weren't allowed in Pesach, was from a Chinese custodian in the Mir Yeshiva in Shanghai. When they were cleaning for Pesach, and the Chinese custodian of the yeshiva started pointing to something under a bench and said, hametz, hametz. And they said, what do you mean hametz? And he picked up a peanut. They're like, well, that's not hametz. He's like, no, the Polish Jews that were here before said that this is hametz. We have to clean these. That's the first time that the Mir Yeshiva had ever heard that peanuts were kidneys. Well, I mean, they treated them as chametz. So, but I mean, most South African Jews are Lithuanian. We had never heard. I ate peanut butter on Pesach. That was normal. And then the minute became, pretty much everybody in America became machmir about what is considered to be kidneys or not. But certainly your dog can be either a Sephardi or a Lithuanian Ashkenazi if they put peanuts in the thing. None of that is a problem. What about buying after Pesach? So this also comes up. So, okay, you figured out you're not going to feed your dog the chametz on Pesach. You want to buy chametz after Pesach to feed your dog. So the stockade as of this year, 2025, paskins that Petco and PetSmart are both completely non-Jewish owned. So even though they have chametz that they own, that's not chametz shavar of a Pesach, meaning you can buy from PetSmart and Petco. All of that is good to go. What do you do with your dog? This happens. What do you do with your dog if your dog is feinschmecker and is not happy to change its food from the chametz food to the non-chametz food? So this is a very tafshin pei question. Our grandparents never asked these questions. What if my dog doesn't like the menu? Fine, right? So meaning, but if your dog, I get it. If your dog or your bunny doesn't like the food, what do you do? So the correct thing to do, the best possible scenario, is sell the dog to a non-Jew, meaning put it on your chametz form. Sell the dog to the non-Jew, and ideally, check the dog into the doggy hotel things that they have for Pesach. That's the easiest thing to do. Then you don't, doesn't belong to you, you're not getting hana from it, you don't own the chametz, you are not holding on to their chametz. All of these things, sell the dog and the chametz, all to the nachri for Pesach, mazel tov, all is good and well. If that is not possible, so then you have to sell the dog and the dog food and the place that the dog food is going to be, and then you also have to be very careful that you are not feeding your dog this chametz food inside of your house because there's have a spot outside for the dog. You have to figure these things out. This comes up with regards to fish as well. Sometimes it's very cumbersome. You're going to take all the fish, you're going to put them in bags. Okay, so salat anachri, along with the space that all of that is in, because otherwise you're holding on to the non-Jews chametz in your rishus on Pesach, and that becomes an additional issue. Do you need to buy this question came up as well, do you need to buy a new food bowl for your pet on Pesach? No. You can be somech on the fact that none of that the blios of the chametz, the dog is not asabai, because the blios, the thing that is soaked into the bowl, is not asa behanat, so it's asa be'achila, but that's only if you're going to be eating it. And the question of what to do with fish vacation blocks. Apparently this is the thing, that you put like a big block into your fish tank, keep the filter running on a timer, and then the fish will have like a release of food. It'll keep them going for. Can you do that? So apparently a lot of the vacation blocks for fish food contain chametz. The other question that comes up is if you are visiting the zoo and you want to feed the animals. This comes up a lot. Can you buy the feed that they give you to feed the giraffes or whatever it is? So most of the time that stuff is chametz. Most of the time that is chametz. You buy it and then you feed it. That's all in ganzen aser. So don't do that. Don't do that. If you want to go see animals, go find somebody that has a very sensitive dog that they have kept at home. You go and visit that dog, make sure that it's been sold appropriately for Pesach. But don't buy the giraffe feed, the fish feed, whatever else. All of that is problematic, and you should make sure to take care of that. Your chametz pet food, if you manage to change your dog's diet, the chametz pet food should be sold with the rest of the chametz. It is chametz, and it is, by definition, ra'ei le'achilas kelev. And the final question of what about the vitamins, the minerals that if you have to give your dog all sorts of pills and whatever it is. So apparently says the stock, a lot of them do contain chametz, but it's batel. Meaning that's for sure batel in batel b'shishim before Pesach. So buy them before Pesach and then you are good to go. And Be'ez Hashem Yisbarach, we and all of our pets should be zeicher to be early to Yerushalayim.